Hi everybody, welcome to my new video on how to take wireless LAN over-the-air packet captures using Linux. Now in this particular video, I'm using Kali Linux as a distribution. However, the steps that we discuss would be common across any distribution that you're comfortable to work with. Now, one more prerequisite that you might need is a network card which can be put in monitor mode. Now, there are plenty of articles over the internet which shows which are these chipsets which can be put into monitor mode. So before you purchase the network card, please check as to what is the chipset that it is using and whether it can use monitor mode. Once both of these are ready, you just fire up the terminal and you update and upgrade the repositories. I think I have run it a couple of times, so it shouldn't take a long time, along with a dist upgrade. Once this is done, it's important to also update the Linux headers to the latest version for the drivers to consume. So this is the command to update the Linux headers of the current kernel that you're running. It's very important to run this command successfully and make sure that there are no errors in this command. You can also look at which is the kernel that you're currently running using uname A, and this will give you the current version of the kernel that you're running. Once this is done, it's time to install the drivers. Now, depending upon which is the chipset model that you're using, you can search on GitHub for the latest driver, and you can download those drivers using or you can clone the Git to the home directory. So this is how I cloned my driver. So this is the URL for me, but this can be the same for you, or maybe it's different. So please check which is the chipset version that you're using. So this command will create a directory at my home, at my current working directory, or in this case, it's my home directory with the drivers downloaded. I'm not going to do it again since I have already done it. Let's check if the directory is present. Yes, the directory is definitely present. Let me go inside the directory. Now it's time to install the driver. Now you can do it in different ways, right? So you can have sudo make to compile and sudo make install to install the driver. You can also try to install it using the DKMS utility, but in this example, I have installed it using sudo make and sudo make install. Right? So I'll do the make first. I've already done it this time, but this is how you type the command. So you have to make first and then wait for the driver to complete. In this case, I have already made it. And then you do a sudo make install, right? So this will install the driver just in case it's not already installed, right? Once both of these processes are done, let me plug in so ideally you can do a systemctl network restart over here or reboot your PC just to be safe. But in my case, I'm just going to plug the network card and let's see if my USB detects it. Yeah, so this is the Edimax. I'm running over 1750 Edimax USB. So the fact that the USB is being detected does not mean that the driver is installed, right? So generally, we also check whether the interface has been formed. So IPA gives you the number of interfaces which have been formed, which is a loopback, Ethernet 0, WLAN 1, WLAN 2. Now WLAN 1 is my native interface, right? Which is native NIC card of the laptop itself, which I'm using to connect to the internet. So I will leave it untouched. WLAN 0 is the interface that we're looking for, right? Which is nothing but Edimax. You can also run sudo airmon ng, which is a utility which you'll be using to actually put the NIC cards in a monitor mode. But just running airmon ng will also give you the details of which are the interfaces which are associated to which devices. You can also run iwconfig. This is another utility you can use to check the status of the NIC. So WN0 is unassociated. We know that it's a Realtek NIC. It's in managed mode. What does managed mode mean? Well, that's the default mode. So managed mode is the mode in which the NIC can associate to an AP and function, business as usual. Now, but for our purposes, we want to convert it into a monitor mode, right? So how do we do that? There are multiple ways to do it. One of the way is using sudo airmon, which I'm comfortable using. And the command that we use is to sudo start WLAN 0 if I want to convert this guy, right? So it says that monitor mode is now enabled. How do I verify it? Well, I go to iwconfig again and type whether I see that the mode has been changed from manage to monitor. Now, important point. Whenever you do this or whenever you're required to do this, most probably you will be using more than one adapters, right? So I'm using WLAN 0. I don't want to use WLAN 1 because that will break my internet connectivity. However, uh, it makes sense to use both these adapters, or if you have three adapters, you can use three adapters. Uh, because generally in a WLAN world, you will be zeroing in on an AP which is dual band, or maybe you want to track a client which can do a band balance action, or maybe associate across different bands, or maybe you want to troubleshoot a roaming client, right? So which is moving from one BSS ID to another, which is essentially also from one channel to another. So how do you capture all those frames, right? So you need simultaneous adapters which can run in monitor mode. But in this case, I'm just using WLAN 0 just to be safe so that my internet connection doesn't go away. But yeah, you can put both of these adapters using the same method, and you can use both of these adapters to do simultaneous packet captures. Right, so once you have verified uh, the NIC card, it's in monitor mode, you can run T-Shark I here just to check if the packets or the monitor mode packets are being received. Let's have a look. Yeah, I can see that the NIC card is ready and it's already uh, listening to certain frames, and these are all OTA frames, by the way. Now, generally, the choice of doing this depends on the person who is doing it. Now, generally, I would like to use Aero Dump as a utility to first check, uh, or which helps me visualize how are the SSIDs being broadcasted, which are the channels that they are being used, and then when I finally decide to zero in, I can use T-Shark or maybe Wireshark to create a dump file or PCAP file, and then do my further analysis. But in our case, let's fire up our old trusty Wireshark. Right? So sudo Wireshark. Right, so Wireshark has come up, and WLAN 0 should be my monitor mode interface. I double click on WLAN 0 and I see that yes, I can see block tags, action frames, all those OTA frames being captured, right, along with the radio tab header. Right, so the Wireshark has started capturing the packets. You can also switch channels from here. Ideally, it should allow you to switch, right? So channel 10 to channel 11, or if I want to switch to somewhere around 48, which is my home channel, I can see traffic being generated and captured here. Now, once you do this, you can go back to where we started using the Airmon NG utility itself. Let's see how do we do it. Right, so I go back to the terminal and I look at IW config WLAN 0, which should still be in monitor mode, and then I use the same command airmon ng stop WLAN 0 to bring it back to manage mode. Right. So if I run a sudo IW config WLAN 0 now, I can see that it's back to manage mode. Right. So in the next video, I think we'll explore more about how to do a packet analysis on different frame transactions that happen in WLAN in the WLAN world. We'll also look at Aero dump probably in a separate video, and how Aero dump helps us to visualize Wi-Fi or SSIDs over the air and help where we should specifically go and do a packet capture. Till then, thank you for watching. Bye bye.